Hey guys, we're back. Better You is Better Living, where we try and help you elevate your existence using emotional intelligence. I'm Lauren, retired Air Force officer, consultant, entrepreneur, passionate about emotionally intelligent leadership.
Personal trainer,
Yeah,
musician.
I do a few things.
Does it all.
What about you, Lucy?
I am Lucy. I'm an entrepreneur and a small business consultant, and I am also passionate about emotional intelligence and management and regulation and really just finding joy in life through, learning to love yourself.
Right,
Honestly.
and we're going to help you do that.
We are.
And we have an awesome guest. But first, a word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor is TCH Digital Media. It's a small family-owned business building and maintaining websites, treating your business like ours for less than the cost of a part-time employee. For $500 a month, we do our job so you can do yours. That's TCH Digital Media. You can find them at tchdigitalmedia.com. And I will say, personal shout out, these guys are awesome.
Yes,
so
thank you.
If you need any website work, marketing, even just some good advice, look these guys up. Okay? So Lucy,
Yes.
who do we have today?
We have Cammie. I'm so thrilled to have her back.
Cammie's back.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
You guys are awesome.
I feel like we had a magical episode with you
Oh, it was so
when you were
fun.
here the first time. I just wanted to sit like this and let you talk.
You're too nice.
And just,
no, same
like-
though. It was just a really great conversation. I feel like there's insights from everyone here and just fun to talk it out.
It is fun. We were saying earlier that we were just having a conversation, and
Right.
and that's really that's true.
Yep.
And that's what it feels like. And so I think when you're really truly invested in the things that you're talking about, that's what it feels like. We're just sitting around having a conversation, and we're wearing headphones
Love it.
and talking into mics because it's fun. So, but I'm really glad to have you back.
Thank you.
My head was just spinning the last time you were here, and all the way home, I was driving all the way home and just trying to process and absorb all the things that you shared, all the wisdom
thank
that
you.
you that you shared with us and with our listeners. So we can't thank you enough. We're thrilled to have you back, and we're gonna kind of dig a little deeper, I guess,
do it. I
into
love it.
our last podcast episode. So just a quick recap, we were talking a little bit about our thoughts and learning to control our thoughts and learning to redirect our thoughts, and how some of the practical applications that we can use to change direction and to kind of work on creating new thoughts, and how behind every feeling is a thought.
Right.
And so will you just take, if you can, say like 60 seconds and
Yeah.
kind of maybe recap on the three practical applications that you shared with us last time you were here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, thoughts and emotions it's a fascinating subject. And so I mean, a couple of the things that we talked about last time, right, were finding positive aspects, right? So if you are trying to get in a better thought space, in a better emotional space, then you can find the positive aspects. So you do it, the clock thing. You start
Right.
at 12 o'clock, find a positive aspect about whatever it is that you're facing, right? If it's a difficult relationship, if it's a difficult circumstance in your life and you're trying to get to a better space. And again, this is about you. It's not going to change your circumstance. Your circumstance might be the same forever. Or, well, at least for the time being, right? Life changes all the time. But the hope is just to be able to get yourself into a space where you feel just a little bit better, right? To be able to find more joy. Like you said, that's
Right.
why we're here.
Right.
We're literally here to experience joy. That's life. Like, that's why we want to figure this out. It's like cracking the code of our emotions, cracking the code of our thoughts. Why do we have all the thoughts that we do? Sometimes my brain is so active and it's always doing so many things, which I'm super, super grateful for. But it's also like it creates all kinds of things that I'm like, what can I do with all of this? So,
Right.
so we talked about the positive aspects.
Yep.
We talked about the what if game. So the what if game was, what if, So I think we compared it to like if you get cut off on the freeway.
Right.
What if instead of being just straight to anger, which is our human right knee-jerk reactions, I think knee-jerk reactions can be a tricky thing to try and figure out. But instead of being like, you might even still have that knee-jerk, but then go, wait. They might be heading to the hospital. Maybe they're, so the what if game.
Right.
Offering people some grace.
Right.
Offering ourselves some grace, right? And then what was the other one we were talking about? I'm trying to remember the third. But basically,
stop the train.
Oh, stop the train. Yes, stop the train. I love the stop the train. So we find ourselves spiraling. Our thoughts, like if you have the one bad thing that happens in the day, there's that thing that you stub your toe, right? You stub your toe, and then it sends you down if they wouldn't have put that there, then I wouldn't, and if she wouldn't have, and then all da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And our brains can all of a sudden, then we find ourselves in this space that it just feels crappy. It's just not fun. And then you look for more evidence of why life is hard and why this is not my fair. And they didn't, just all the things. And so the hope is then to notice that that's happening and then to be like, wait. Actually, I see what's happening here, brain. I see what you're doing, brain. Stop the train. And so I give the phrase stop the train to my clients all the time. I say, just stop the train. And for a few seconds, your brain's doing nothing. Maybe like 2 seconds, 1 second. You've got it stops the thought in its tracks. Done. Stop it.
Right.
Then after that, you get to just decide, what do we do from here? Where do we go from here? We have a whole bunch of options. And so then offering the next idea for the next thought. What can I do instead? And then we kind of talked about some different things that your brain can do. Going to, even just switching it out for something else.
Right.
What should I make for dinner tonight? Right. And then you can go to something positive, like life is good. I'm happy. And then you can go to something empowering, like super empowering, like I love that I'm conquering my brain. I love that I can empower myself to do better. I am bettering my life every day. Something that's really going to take you to a place of positivity. So again, we have so much power in this process, but it's being aware of that, right? And so I think the place to start then is awareness. That's number one.
It's key.
Being an observer. So I tell my clients all the time too, again, be an observer of your thoughts. This was a new concept for me. I remember the first time I heard somebody say, your thoughts create your emotions. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? What? Could you say that again for me? Because
right.
my thoughts are creating my feelings. Like, okay. But then I thought, my thoughts are just, sometimes I felt like I was a victim of my thoughts. Like, my thoughts rule my brain.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, wait, I can have some say in this. And I remember this empowering moment. I will never forget it, where I was like, wait, I get to do something different about this. And so that day I again, just started to research and look and seek and find. And, getting to a place now where I'm working on, just like everybody else, like applying different tools and different things that we can do to help ourselves get to a better space.
Right.
Because that's all this is about.
Right.
Getting to more joy.
Right.
Getting to a better space.
And it takes a lot of repetition to master that. And I think I talk with people all the time and that seem to think that you're going to get to this space where you're not going through those steps. Mm-hmm. And I haven't arrived there. I don't know. Maybe someone that's far, more advanced in this, in this space can speak to it. But I feel like this is a lifetime practice.
For sure.
That there's these tools that we're talking about, these things that you've shared are you're constantly practicing them. You're constantly using them. Mm-hmm. And I think your rebound time shortens. Your pendulum isn't swinging as from one place to the other. Maybe it's not as strong or as severe. So maybe that pendulum swing is a little shorter and your rebound time is quicker. But I don't think that we're going to get to a space where we're not having to, at least on some level, put those those practices into place at different times in our lives. So it's a
That's
lifetime.
totally.
It's a process.
It's a process, right? You improve. It
Yeah.
gets, like I said, your downtime shrinks and you get better at it, and you grow in that space. But I don't think that you're going to arrive at this place where you're immune to those influences, and you're not having to apply those principles from time to time throughout your day, throughout your life.
Totally. Well, if you think about anything in life, everything is a practice.
Right.
It is literally a practice. You think of like literally the best football player in the world. They still screw it up sometimes. They
Right.
still mess it up, but they still show up practice every day.
Right.
And some of the greats, I saw Tom Brady speak one time, and his story blows my mind. Practice, up until the day he retired. It's not like they're like, well, you have arrived.
Right.
When he was 21 years old.
Right.
Right. So it is a constant practice, but that's the beauty of it. Like, I love that this is a journey. I love that this isn't like, well, I've arrived, I've figured it out. Like, what would life be if we had figured it out when we were 21 years old? Like, what would this be about now? And I feel like now we're kind of progressively peeling back the layers, and like, oh, the more we kind of like ask the questions, the more we discover like, oh, that's my reaction to that. Huh. And then you can be more curious. It comes to a place of like curiosity, like, I wonder why I did that. Like, why did I do that? Why did I react like that? And then you can be like, oh, with that awareness, again, I'm in a practice. And I think, I don't know anyone who's not gone through difficult circumstances.
Right.
Everyone has their difficult circumstances. And I have a good friend who reminds me when I have a difficult thing that I'm sharing with her, she's like, oh, well, isn't this awesome? You have another reason to practice. I'm like, I love you. I thank you so much for reminding me that I get to practice these tools, right? To be able to, again, apply some of those. And then over time, again, you're peeling back layers. You're starting to find out more about who you are. You're starting to discover more things about how other people act. Like, why do people act the way they do? And instead of judging yourself, judging other people, you're like, that is so interesting. I wonder why do we do this? Human behavior is fascinating. It's so fascinating. And the other thing I like to think about is that, as far as like our behaviors go, right? So the thought creates the emotion creates the action creates the results, and then next level creates your habits.
Right.
So our habits are where oftentimes we're like, I have done that since I was 12. My reaction to that has been the same since I was a kid. Or I grew up, I was conditioned to think or feel or act this way. And, depending on where you lived, what kind of upbringing you had, where you went to school, what your parents were like, what your, all of those things. And then where you live now, like what you listen to, what news you take in, all of these things play into, those beliefs and habits. And so your neural pathways are super thick sometimes. We have thought the same thoughts recurring over and over for our entire lives. And so with those being thicker and thicker, sometimes, like you said, how are we ever going to get there? It's okay that it's a process, that we create new experiences and new neural pathways but the memory of some of those past beliefs and things, the memories can almost help us then go, I don't know if I love the way that I was doing that or thinking that. I want to create something different. And that's a fun journey. That's fun. It's intimidating and sometimes very difficult to break down some of those things, but
it can be done.
It can be done,
yeah.
and it's fun and exciting. So, yeah.
So you shared something just a minute ago that I'm hoping that we can kind of discuss a little more in depth. And so, your thoughts create your feelings impact your behaviors, and then your behaviors impact your results. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping to talk about that more. But I wanted to ask you a question. And I think after we recorded, has it been a month? don't know
It's
how
been a
long
minute.
it's been.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
So I was chuckling because I left the studio, and on the way home, and I'm going to date myself here with this song, but it was a song from REO Speedwagon that was
Yeah,
really
they're good.
big when I.
They're good.
Oh, thanks, Lauren.
I love REO.
You name that tune.
It's time for me to fly.
No, it was I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore. And so I was
classic.
it's a classic
Yeah.
song. Oh boy, I just remember, belting that in the back seat of the car, and it was just this love ballad, and but I was almost just chuckling because one of the things that I was thinking about after we chatted last time was how much we believe our feelings to be truth, right? We really want to honor our feelings, and I'm not suggesting that we don't allow space for feelings to move through us and to flow through us, but I do think that most people are operating from that place, right? Most people are responding from an emotional space. And so there's this emotional reaction to the things that are happening in our lives. And I was just chuckling because this song is like, oh, I can't fight this feeling anymore. And, I've forgotten what I'm even fighting for.
Should we sing it?
All of it
Should we
out
sing
the
it?
window.
Yeah,
Let's go.
And so what advice would you offer someone that comes to you and says, Cami, I have all these feelings, and they're stuck there. They're just really stuck in that space of hashing out those feelings and those emotions over and over and over again. How do you help someone move from just emotionally responding to everything?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think, first of all, feelings are something that it's not a good or a bad thing.
Right.
It's just feedback.
Right.
So it's not like if you're sad, then you're bad. I think I used to have that belief system that if you were sad, then you were bad. Or that if you were angry, like, oh, that's a bad emotion. Like, you need to check yourself. It's more so just kind of feedback. Mm-hmm. But what's cool about that is that the feedback that you're getting, okay, so if you love the emotions that you're having, if you love the way you feel, keep thinking the things that you're thinking. Like, and honor that being sad, it is so real. Like,
absolutely.
The things that cause you to be sad, my closet has seen many, many tears, many, many. And I have been at the depths of sad in my lifetime. And I don't know anybody, again, who hasn't had those like gut-wrenching moments. And that's okay. You have to honor that and sit in it and let it be. If you resist those things, if you tell those things, those emotions, oh, you're bad, you can't stay here, then you're just putting off what you need to figure out.
Right. You're just prolonging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because again, that sad is like, okay, all right, I'm sad. Why? What's going on? And have you ever had those times when you're like, I don't even know why I'm sad. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. I wish I could.
Right.
I'm sitting here and I'm sad and I don't really know. What's cool is that feelings, again, you can honor them, and I've sat in it and just have been sad about it. But then, you kind of pick yourself up and you dry your tears and go, okay, all right, then what do I want? And
I think that's the key.
Right?
Right there.
Right.
Yes.
You can't sit and let it. That's not who you are.
No.
Right.
That's not, you can't let it own you. You have to get to that point, like you mentioned, where you have to make a choice.
Yes.
And you have to move on, or
Yes.
whatever those choices are, you need to make a choice now.
Absolutely. So that's the question. What do I want? What do I want? The cool thing is asking that question is a huge step, because I think a lot of people get stuck in the sad. Right. Again, like you said. So then that's amazing. Asking the question, okay, where do I go from here then? Okay, this sucks. Like, I hate the way this feels. How do I step forward? Because I don't want to step back and I don't love it here. So the way to move forward then is to create a different thought. Because we know then, again, thoughts create emotions and those things. But then we have a tool. We have a tool to be able to help us get out of that feeling, if that's what you want. I think if I were to ask both of you, like you've already said it, right? But Lauren, if I were to say, what is the emotion that you want to feel most in life? You would say
Joy.
joy. Exactly, right? The emotion that all of us are looking for is that actual true joy. And so if that's what we're seeking, how do we get from sad to joy? How do we get there? Are the steps? And the most amazing thing when I discovered that there is a way, we're not stuck there forever. So then you start asking, okay, what do I want? Second, how do I get there? And then you start creating the thoughts that create a different emotion if you want to.
Right.
It's totally optional. All of it's optional. And all of it is about being curious. So then you can try other things on, right? Try on other thoughts. Like I like to, you don't have to go from 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds. You can just start gradually with, okay, I'm okay. Things are okay. And then, gradually moving yourself up to, wow, like I feel like gratitude and joy are BFFs. Gratitude and joy, again, we've talked about this, but if you want to skip some steps, just 0 to 100, if you want to get to 100, come up with your go-to gratitudes.
Yeah.
And make them be passionate about it when you say them. Like, okay, but I am so grateful for fill in the blank. And that can create a different feeling, right?
Yeah. I think that's a technique that I started applying in my own life when I found myself in those moments. I found journaling really helpful. Those times you're talking about where even if you don't know what you're feeling really sad about, I can sit down and start writing. And usually the more I write, the clearer the thoughts that are creating the emotion become, right? At some point I write it down and it hits you like a ton of bricks and you say, oh, okay, that's what's at the root,
yes.
Right? There's that root thought. But I found a practice of just giving myself some time to feel the feelings and sitting with it, not judging it, just observing it. I'm not the feeling. It's just where I'm at. It's just the space I'm in. And when I feel ready to kind of crawl out of that, I'll say, what's perfect in this moment right now? Or another thing I'll say to myself is, I can choose gratitude, and I try to find something that I'm really grateful for. And sometimes I feel like I've got my hand down in this, bag that I can't even feel the bottom of. I'm like really digging, right, for something to be grateful for.
Totally.
But I can honestly say that every single time I've been able to find at least one thing.
Love it.
That I can be grateful for. And I feel like those two thoughts or phrases help me kind of stop the train and then start to work towards, this higher vibration, this higher line of thought that I'm striving to reach again. And I've been there before, and I've been here before. So, past behavior is an indicator of future behavior. I've done it before. I can do it again.
Totally.
But I do think that I personally found that cycle just easier to work through when I started applying some of those principles and allowing time for me to feel those feelings without judgment was a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. And the longer you can keep yourself in that space, the more you'll get used to being in that space.
Right.
Right. It kind
without
of
it making you feel really uncomfortable.
Right.
I mean, there's angst, right? You understand whatever's happening. You're feeling those feelings, but when you remove the judgment of yourself for having those experiences, I don't know. I don't even know if I could really articulate what that feels like, what that difference is. I'd love to give you an opportunity to speak to that if you feel like you can articulate that distinction to our listeners. But it does feel different.
Oh, for sure it does.
It feels so different.
Well, it literally it's a feeling. It's raising your vibration, right? So the lower, have you seen the emotional scale? Like there's like an emotional chart where you're down in like despair, I think despair is the absolute bottom and joy is the top.
Is the top.
And then
Yeah.
you've got all the things in between, right? And so with each of them, you feel a little bit different. There's a different physical reaction in
Right.
your body.
Right.
And then the one at the top, you know, that like utter bliss, you know, those blissful moments when you're like, this is perfect. There is nothing that could be better
Riding my
than this.
motorcycle.
Right? Exactly.
Fresh powder field, all for me.
See, we have,
Skiing.
it's, yes. I mean, for real though, for real.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why we should be seeking those joyful things.
Yes.
He's like, I am all on board
will
with
ski
joy.
every day.
Let's go for joy. Because really, like, again, the more you can put yourself in that space, the more you're like, oh, the contrast is your story. The contrast is where you're going to be like, I remember what sadness feels like. I don't love that as much. I love joy. So again, we are going to have both extremes, and there's nothing, again, wrong with that. But being like, wow, that joy is something special. I think I'm going to do what I can to get there. How did I get there last time? Right? Okay, I got a journal out. Okay, what did I do? I said, okay, so, and then I got some affirmations going, and then I told myself, right? Like I had a friend challenge me one time to sit in gratitude and just, piece of paper, journal, whatever, and you write rapid fire, da 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 da. I'm grateful for da 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 da. Right, and you write as fast as you can, as fast as the things come to your mind as you possibly can, and then set the timer for 15 minutes. You will like it. So at first you're like, let's see, okay, I'm thankful for snow. Right? Thankful for motorcycles. And then you're like, I'm trying to think beyond that. Like,
There's nothing. No, just kidding.
hamburger and fries,
Kidding.
right? So like, there's the things, and then all of a sudden, your brain starts to open up, and your brain will find other evidences of the beautiful, blissful things that we have in this life. Like, this life is meant for bliss. We are meant for bliss. And so, but we are supposed to feel the contrast of that. How are you supposed to know bliss is that good if you haven't ever sat in your closet and cried it out? Like, how would you know that bliss was bliss if you hadn't felt like you said, it's a physical reaction, the crappy, like, gut punch that you get when somebody does something to you, or whatever it is that you're like, oh, you like literally feel it. It's a physical reaction.
Yeah.
Bliss is the same thing. You know, that like giddy inside, like,
yeah.
I feel like a little girl right now. Like, I'm so happy about this situation, right? And that is what we're striving to come to more and more and more. And the cool thing is that there is a way to get there. Our feelings don't have to we don't have to just sway all the time with whatever. And then like, anytime somebody says something to you, anytime, I teach school classes sometimes at my kids' school, and kids will come to me and they're like, they said this. And I'm like, okay. So, and then we kind of talk it out, and I say, we don't have to like sway with anytime somebody is saying something to you. Right. You actually get to decide, right? So anyways, and that could be a whole nother discussion another day, but just being able to, again, come to the blissful moments, appreciate the contrast of the crappy feelings, and honor them.
Right.
And have gratitude for them. As soon as you can like come to a place where you're like, I am grateful for that trial that taught me that thing, you know that you have done some serious work about it.
Right.
When you can say, thank you for the experience. Ooh,
yeah.
That
right.
can be hard. If some, those things that can be the gut punches, when you can say, thank you for that experience, because now I understand even more who I am. I understand even more what my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions are telling me. And so I appreciate that gut punch you just offered me. I'm going to seek some more motorcycle time and be all right.
Yeah, I think often to myself that I wouldn't undo,
right?
If the only way to ensure that I arrived in the same place that I'm at today were to walk my journey again, knowingly, I would choose it.
100%.
I would choose it, and because I would not want to undo all of the growth, all of the awareness.
Yep.
I would not. It'd be painful. It'd be painful.
Right.
But it may be less painful because if I went back knowing right? I'd understand what it was all for. So I think I would just
But then
say,
again,
bring it on. Bring it on. Let's do
right.
the accelerated program. But yeah.
But then what would be the journey in
Well,
that? Right?
no,
Know what
I know.
So
but
honor it all. Honor it all. I always say,
but
just
I
honor
wouldn't.
it
I
all.
would
Yeah.
not want to undo
Yes.
the things that I've learned. And
Agreed.
so there's a lot that, was not fun. And I'm sure there's more waiting. But I would not undo it.
Yeah.
So
It's good stuff.
that's not an
Life is
invitation.
good.
I'm not manifesting to life that I'm like waiting in the winds for trial
Careful
and
what you wish for.
tribulation. But
Careful what you wish for.
but I'm very grateful,
Good.
and I think a lot of people, I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and she was sharing some things that were going on in her life, and she was feeling really low and frustrated with them. And I said, well, if we bagged it all up, if we bagged all of yours and I bagged all of mine, and then we had a meeting, and we showed up and we all dropped our bag, in the middle of the space, and then invited everyone to come back in and pick a bag. I said, which bag would you pick? And she said, oh, I'd grab my bag. I'd grab my own bag.
Wow.
yeah.
I love that.
And I said, okay, well, I would grab mine.
So would I.
So what does that tell you? And she's like, well, okay. I'm going to put my big girl pants back on. I'm going to get out there and lug my bag off with a smile on my face. And I said, there you go, girl. You got it.
It's awesome.
I like
So-
looking at it like that. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Yep. Whose life would you
Yeah.
choose? I would choose all the growth. Let's go with the growth.
Right.
love
I wouldn't
it.
take my eye off my bag.
That
Beat
one's
you back
mine.
with a stick.
That one's mine.
That's a good way to look at it. It really is.
Love it.
So
Good.
anyway,
That's awesome. Well, Cammie, thank you so much. This
Thank
has
you.
been so great. So, what would you say the one thing? I would tell you the one thing. I'm just sitting over here, just like, oh yeah, that's so good. That's so good. But the one thing that I would say that we could give to our audience that I really liked was the like speed gratitude journaling.
Oh, yeah.
almost.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire gratitude.
Fire,
Yep.
and realizing that you have that despair. We have to feel that on that whole scale, and then we're looking for that bliss. And that if we're down there, because we all are at certain times, we can rapid fire journal and come right out of it and just be like motorcycle.
You can only write that
ski.
once.
I feel like you're a little one-tracked today.
Those are my favorite.
Are you
things.
deprived of some
I
some
have
powder time?
Skiing. The ski resorts just closed, with the exception of a few that I don't have a pass to. But motorcycle time is here.
It's just
It is.
And
right there.
so yeah, but the weather's been weird. So I
skis
haven't
for
gone,
wheels.
But yeah,
Yeah.
those are my happy places.
Yes.
But yes, I think
Yeah.
that's a great. I
Love
don't know
it.
if you guys agree. Great
Love it.
action.
I love it. That's a
Yes.
great action item.
Speed, rapid fire, gratitude.
Love it.
Before we completely wrap it up, like close out our session, let's kind of
Yes.
just do a quick recap then, because we've got our action items from our first discussion, but now we've got that rapid fire gratitude. We can honor the feelings, right? Sit in the closet and just honor your feelings
Then
without
make a
judging.
choice.
And then make a choice. And
Which I
maybe we
love.
can invite people to, right? Maybe you can ask yourself, what's perfect in this moment right now? Or what is something, maybe you're in the closet and you don't have the energy to sit down for 15 minutes, but find one thing that you can be grateful for, right? I can choose gratitude and find one thing that you can be grateful for. And yeah, there's some great tools, and just encourage everyone to strive to implement those things into their life, because it will really, truly start to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Love
So
it.
thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Can't wait to have you back.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. I'm just honored to be here. So thanks so much.
We're blessed by your presence. So thank you.
you.
Thank you. So once again, if you've made it this far, please leave us a review.
Like, comment.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, wherever you're listening to,
Yeah.
because it helps us produce this content.
Right.
So once again, I'm Lauren.
I'm Lucy.
This is Better You is Better Living.
Thank you.